It starts so gently, you might not even notice. A few pounds lost, a nap that stretches a little longer, a quiet dinner where fewer words are spoken. Have you ever watched someone you love slowly drift, not in one moment, but in dozens of tiny ones? This story is for those of us who've sat quietly beside an aging parent, a spouse, or a dear friend, wondering if something deeper is changing. Hi, I'm David. My mother, Evelyn, was 92 when we first started to see the signs. She was still smiling, still humming her old tunes in the kitchen, but there were changes. Subtle at first, and then not so subtle. This video is for you, the child, the caregiver, the spouse who's sensing that someone you love may be nearing the final stretch of their life. It's not about fear, it's about awareness and love. We'll walk through 5 gentle but powerful signs that often appear in that last year so we can respond not with panic, but with presence. What if decline wasn't something to fight, but something to witness with reverence? We spend much of our lives trying to fix and prevent, but there comes a moment, quiet, often invisible, when our role changes. From protector to companion, from doing to simply being. And that's what this video is really about. Being there with clarity, with love when someone is gently closing their chapter. Mary was 87 when her daughter Anna noticed something odd. Her slippers kept falling off. It wasn't just her shoes, her dresses hung differently. Her rings slipped on and off. The weight loss wasn't dramatic, but it was steady. And it wasn't just about less eating. Mary's body was changing from the inside. Digestive slowdown, muscle loss, and a natural shift in how her body absorbed nutrients. Anna started adding soft, high-calorie snacks to Mary's meals. Milk with honey, scrambled eggs with avocado. Sometimes, just sitting with her while she ate made all the difference. The scale told one story, but the real story was in the soft fabric of a robe that no longer fit the same way. Mary's, slow and steady weight loss was more than aging, was a quiet sign of muscle wasting and metabolic decline. A subtle shift that often signals the body is nearing its final season. For years, Thomas was up at dawn, pruning the roses and trimming the hedges. But one spring, he stayed in bed until 10. Then 11. It just takes too much out of me, he finally said. His energy was ebbing. Tasks that once brought him joy now felt overwhelming. His daughter Julia adjusted. No more long errands or back-to-back activities. They sat under the porch instead, watching birds. She broke chores into 5-minute bits. Thomas didn't need a schedule anymore, he needed space. Fatigue wasn't laziness. It was his body asking for gentleness. Thomas's growing exhaustion reflected a decline in internal energy, reserves a deeper physical weakening that often appears when the body begins to wind down in its final year. Elaine used to call every Sunday morning, church, brunch, a long chat. But one weekend, no call, then another. Her daughter Michelle found her asleep at noon, wide awake at 3 a.m. Not unhappy, just quiet. She stopped playing piano. Declined visits. Sleep had become unpredictable, and so had her desire to connect. Michelle didn't push. She started showing up with warm muffins and no agenda. Sometimes they just sat, no words, just a hand on a hand. Withdrawal isn't always sadness. Sometimes it's the soul preparing for stillness. Elaine's shifting sleep patterns and quiet withdrawal were gentle indicators of emotional retreat and neurochemical changes, both common in the final chapters of life. Frank, a retired schoolteacher, loved fishing at Lake Grantham. He'd tell stories of it like it was sacred ground. But one afternoon, he paused mid-story and asked, "What was that lake called again?" He began to forget directions, misplaced his watch, called his grandson by the wrong name. At first, his family brushed it off, but the fog didn't lift at it. It wasn't just forgetfulness, it was a soft unraveling. Cognitive decline often creeps in, hidden behind politeness and good manners. His wife, Nora, started labeling drawers, reading aloud together, leaving post-it notes with love messages and reminders. It wasn't about correcting him. It was about anchoring him gently. Frank's fading memory was a sign of reduced brain oxygenation and declining cognitive function, a common and natural part of the body's slow return to quietness. One winter evening, Gloria's grandson noticed. Her fingertips were pale and cold. She'd been coughing for weeks, slow to heal from a small cut, and her breath was shallow after just a few steps. Her doctor explained it. Her heart and lungs were tiring. Circulation was slower. Infections more frequent. Her family focused less on curing and more on comfort. Warm blankets, clean sunny spaces, gentle music, a humidifier with lavender oil, and when needed, light oxygen to ease her breath. Even in weakness, there's room for beauty. A warm cup of tea, a kiss on the forehead, a soft blanket tucked just right. Gloria's cold hands and fragile breath reflected reduced circulation and weakening lungs. Physical signs that often arrive in the final stretch of life's journey. They don't always come with sirens or warnings. These signs wait, slipping off, a voice growing quieter, a name forgotten or sudden. They arrive softly, like autumn leaves falling one by one. When I look back on my mother Evelyn's final year, I don't remember one big moment that told me she was nearing her goodbye. I remember the small ones. Her robe hanging looser around her frame, the way she would pause halfway up the stairs and simply decide not to finish the climb, the way her Sunday calls stopped not out of neglect, but from a kind of gentle retreat. I remember when she started asking me the same question twice, and how, one afternoon, she asked where her sister was, her sister who had passed 10 years earlier. I remember sitting beside her one winter morning, holding her hands in mine so small, so cool to the touch and realizing that the woman who once taught me how to walk was now teaching me how to be still. None of these things felt dramatic, but together they were a quiet language. Her body was speaking, softly, telling us she was ready in herself, and if we listen closely, really listen, we won't miss that message, because love, at its most powerful, is not just about doing everything we can. It's about noticing, accepting, and holding space for a goodbye that is slow, gentle, and deeply human. If you're noticing one of these signs in someone you love, or perhaps in yourself, I want you to know you are not alone. This journey, this sacred, quiet, emotional chapter can feel confusing. It's okay to feel unsure. It's okay to grieve even before the goodbye. And it's okay to find peace in the simplicity of just being there. So let me ask you, have you witnessed a sign like this in your loved one? Was it the way they held your hand longer, slept more during the day, ate less, but smiled just the same? Share it in the comments. You don't have to write something perfect. Just write something honest. A moment, a memory, a soft goodbye you almost missed. Because your story might just help someone else recognize the gentle signs in their own lives. And if no one has told you today, you are doing beautifully. Just by noticing, just by loving, that is enough. We'll be here again next week with more stories that honor aging, love, and life's quiet wisdom. Until then, be gentle with yourself and with each other.